Last week, there was an announcement that the CFA exams for level 2 and 3 were transitioning to computer-based testing starting from the year 2021 onwards. So in this video, I would like to go through some of the strategies that you can consider, whether you're a level 1, level 2, or level 3 candidate. And we'll also talk a bit about the frequency of exams. And of course, there are some perceptions on the higher frequency of exams on the quality or the value of the charter, as well as some information about the computer-based testing. Now, say that you're, let's say you're a level 1 exam candidate, okay, or you're planning to take the level 1 exam. So I'm just going to talk a bit about the path that you can take, okay. If you're taking the December 2020 exam, of course, and assuming that you pass everything in the first attempt, so there are a few paths that could happen. Okay, so if you, let's say you take the December 2020 exam for level 1 and you pass, okay, you can, let's say you can go straight to level 2 in May 2021. And then if you pass, you can opt to go for level 3 exam in November 2021. Okay, so the exams in December is at the early part, which is 5th December. Okay, and then of course in November, level 3, the exams would be end of November. So you will have about 12 months, okay, between level 1 to level 3 exams. But of course, factor in mind that you need to have at least 4 to 6 months time to study for the level 1 exam. And of course, if you are taking the February 2021 exam, okay, and assuming you are taking all the exams at the first attempt, so you will take level 2 in August 2021, okay, and you can't take May. And then if you pass, you can go for level 3 in May 2022. Okay, you can't go for level 3 in November. So this is the rule that they have set. So that will take about 15 months between the exams, okay, plus 4 to 6 months to study for level 1. So that will add up to be about 19 to 21 months. Of course, if you take level 1 in May 2021, then you will only complete level 3 by the last level 3 exam will be on November 2022. Okay, so that would take roughly about 18 months. And if you are taking level 1 exam in August 2021, that will take about 15 months. Okay, so of course, if you take the August level 1, then you'll be able to take level 2 in February 2022, followed by level 3 in November 2022. Okay, you will miss out on level 3 in May. And of course, if you're taking November 2021, then you will only be able to take level 3 in May 2023, assuming that you pass everything at the first go and assuming you take every earliest possible exam. So that will take about 18 months. So of course, you have to factor in that there's about 4 to 6 months to study for level 1. Okay, for example, if you are taking December 2020 exam, then for level 1, you will have to start studying, let's say in July or maybe even June. Of course, for 2021, there is a special exception where you can actually complete the CFA program within 1 year. Okay, you could take December 2020 level 1 and then complete level 3 in November 2021. Now, of course, it's possible, but I would, of course, advise against doing that if you have a full-time work, because that would take quite a heavy load. You will have to cram your studies and you will have to, let's say, immediately after the level 1 exam, you will have to start studying, and you can't even wait for the results, okay, before you start. Okay, you will have to, the moment you finish the exam, the next day you have to keep studying. If not, you will not have enough time, okay, to cover the entire syllabus. And I would say that this is an exception only for 2021 because of the pandemic. That's why there is such a gap. Okay, the level 2 is in May. But starting from 2022, level 2, okay, exams will be in February and August. So this is the time interval that they've set, so that there is a gap between level 2 and 3 exams. Okay, so take note that it's only possible to complete the exams within a space of 12 months, okay, only for December 2020 going to November 2021. But after that, you'll be averagely 15 to 18 months. As compared to the current paper-based exams, where it will take, let's say, 18 months if you take December, June, and June, okay, or it will take about 2 years or 24 months if you're taking June, and June. So that's something to take note of. Some people have the perception that because the level 1 exam is offered 4 times a year, that means you can take the exam 4 times a year. Okay, but what they fail to recognize is that you can't take the exams that are within 3 months of each other. In other words, if you're taking February 2021 and you fail, you can't take May 2021. You will have to wait 6 months, okay, which means you can only take level 1 again in August. Okay, and if you take, let's say if you can only resit level 1 in August, that means you can only do level 2 in February. Okay, and that means that you can't do level 3 in May. You will have to do it in November. So just because there's a higher frequency of exams does not mean that you will be able to take all of it, okay, in the sequence that you want. Now, of course, in terms of the exam window, there will be about 7 days of exam window in the year 2021 for the level 1 exam. So of course, it's on a first come first serve basis. You will have to, it's based on what is available. So you have to book your seats based on that day. So I guess it's also a good thing so that the candidates will make up their mind earlier and lock in the dates. Now, for level 2 exams, okay, it will be December 2020 will be the last paper-based exam, okay, and then starting from 2021, it will be all computer-based. So one of the paths that can be considered is to do December 2020, okay, and then subsequently do level 3 in May 2021. Okay, that will take about 5.5 to 6 months. Or you can actually, for some, they have considered doing level 2 next year. So that means if you take level 2 in May next year, then you will be able to do level 3 in November. Okay, and of course, if you plan to do August level 2, then you will only be able to do level 3 in May 2022. Now, of course, it's advisable. For me, the best strategy would be to do the level 2 paper-based exam. If you can register for it, I would advise going for it. Okay, assuming the exam goes on. So doing level 2 in December 2020, then of course, let's say if something goes wrong and you fail, okay, you can still do level 2 in May. Okay, of course, you can choose May or August, either one of it. But if you are, let's say, rushing off or you are trying to finish level 3 as soon as possible, then try December 2020. If you fail, you can still do May. And if you pass, you can go for level 3 in November. Okay, but of course, if you are not in a rush, then of course you can do level 2 in August and then do level 3 in May 2022. Okay, so a strategy where you will have more time, okay, more lead time, and of course more flexibility will be to attempt the December 2020 exam, assuming cost is not a concern. Then you will have an opportunity to resit in May, and then if you pass, you can go for November. Okay, so that's how I look at things. Now, if you do level 2 in February 2022, again, you will be doing November 2022 level 3. Okay, so there is a space of 9 months there. And if you are doing, let's say, August 2022 level 2 exam, then you'll only do level 3 in May 2023. Now, of course, this is taking note that in 2022 onwards, level 2 will be only offered in February and August period. Now, in terms of exam window, there's only about 5 days, okay, for level 2 exams. So take note of this, okay, for the year 2021. So of course, they have committed to a 10 days exam window, but as of now, as published on CFA Institute's website, there's only about 5 days that is available for each exam window for level 2. So just take note of that. Now, for level 3, exams will be in May and November. For those who are registered and you can go for December 2020, I would advise to go for it. It's still paper-based. Okay, of course, if you fail level 3 in December, then you can still repeat it in May and November. In other words, you have the maximum number of chances you can do it with the same syllabus is actually 3 times. Okay, for this December, May, and November next year. Right, so I mean, it's a chance not to miss because there's a syllabus freeze. There's no change in syllabus between this in 2020 and 2021. The only thing to watch out is that for the level 3 computer-based exam window, there's only 3 days in May and November. So of course, book it as soon as possible, or I mean, you try to book your slots as early as possible so that you can get a seat. Now, of course, there are some other questions to look at. Okay, I've seen a lot of people posting that because there are more frequent exam cycles now, will it actually cheapen or dilute the value of the CFA charter? Okay, so of course, there's 4 times of level 1 exams a year, and then level 2 and 3 is 2 times a year. But just because there's 4 times of level 1 exams doesn't mean the same person can take it 4 times a year. Okay, even if you can memorize things, okay, there is still a chance that you may not be able to pass it every time. right? And of course, will the exams be easier? Definitely not, because the CFA Institute has to maintain that level of standard for every exam. If they were to, of course, change the standards, of course, it becomes easier, and then, of course, people would realize that. Okay, but the exams are never set to be easier. So the exam has been set to a certain standard. So if the candidate meets the standard, then they will pass. Okay, if they don't meet the standard, then they will simply fail. Okay, so it doesn't mean that exams will be easier just because it moves to a computer-based exam, or because there's more frequent exams, therefore it's easier to pass. Okay, you will imagine that whenever you finish an exam, you don't immediately study the next day. Okay, you will wait for the result, and even after you get your result, you will start to forget things. Okay, so the idea of retention within a short space of time isn't that valid actually. A lot of people start to have memory leakage after some time. Okay, even like a few weeks after the exam. Now, in terms of the idea of completing the CFA program in 1 year, which in a way negatively affects the value of the CFA charter, that is in fact only an exception in 2021, where you can actually do December 2020 level 1 and then go for level 3 in November 2021, assuming you can pass all the exams. Okay, but it's only a special exception for next year. Okay, but after that, it will be an average of 15 to 18 months between exams. And of course, even if someone were to try this, okay, there's no guarantee that you can pass in every exam. Okay, especially when you get to level 2 and level 3, it's not that simple to pass. Okay, for level 1, of course, for some, they may get through it. Okay, but level 2 is very technical, and of course level 3 is very wide and requires a certain level of understanding if you want to grasp the context of the syllabus. Now, of course, one thing to highlight here is, of course, does more charter holders really dilute the value of the charter? Okay, in fact, it doesn't. Okay, in fact, the more charter holders you have, the more people you have completing the CFA program, the more awareness it actually creates, okay, in the industry. Okay, you've probably heard of cases where employers don't know about the CFA program, or they don't recognize the value of it. And the reason why that happens is because there's not as many people who have completed the program as, of course, is targeted. Okay, but the more people who complete it, that means the more awareness there will be, because people will know about the CFA program. There's a higher chance you may encounter colleagues or maybe your superiors or hiring managers who have completed this program, and they will recognize that it is not something that is easy to complete. It requires a certain level of commitment and, of course, technical skills and knowledge in order to complete the exams. Now, of course, some have said that it could be a cash grab for the CFA Institute. They want to, of course, they increase the frequency, and then they will collect more money. Of course, it goes both ways. Of course, there's a higher frequency, so of course they will collect more. There's more collections in terms of fees, but as well the cost will be higher because they will have to rent the exam venues for more number of days. Now it's like between, let's say, 7 days for level 1, 5 days for level 2, and 3 days for level 3. But starting from the year 2022, they're going to increase it to 10 days for every exam window. And to rent the space and to pay the licensing fees to the exam proctor, okay, to pay for the use of the computer software to do the computer-based testing, that will require a higher cost as well. Okay, so of course there's high collection fees, but there's also higher costs. And not to forget that there's also other costs that we don't know about, like they have to pay the royalties to the authors. Of course, salary wise, of course, they need to compensate the staffs, but it's not an entire pure 100% cash grab for the CFA Institute. Okay, but even if they do, of course, that extra money will then eventually be spent on marketing and research. Okay, it goes back towards the members. Now, of course, shorter exams now is from 6 hours to 4.5 hours. Is it bad? So of course, they have done a study saying that even if they reduce the exam time to 4.5 hours, okay, with proportionately less questions, the exam experience will be the same. If you can pass within that 4.5 hours, it will be the same as if you passed by doing the 6 hours exam. Of course, this is debatable. Okay, we don't know how they did the research. Okay, but then again, 6 hours exam never examine everything in the first place. Okay, it's just that with shorter exams, there's a chance that whatever you studied, some parts may not come out. Okay, you will not be able to spot questions that easily. You will have to you will need to know the other concepts better in case, because you're not sure what will come out. Okay, of course, more information about the computer-based testing. So there's no remote testing here, so you can do it from home. Okay, there will be approved exam centers that where you will actually go to do the exams. Okay, so you have to reach like half an hour earlier to do security checks. They will check your ID or your passport. Okay, they'll probably do thumbprints, and then you will store your items. Okay, and prepare for the exam. Of course, there are short tutorials before every computer-based exam so that you are familiar with how it works. Of course, you'll be provided with an erasable board, or they call it an erasable note board with a marker. Okay, there's no paper provided. This is what I know as of now. So for the note board, you can actually erase it. I think using either an eraser or a tissue, you can actually wipe it off. But if it gets full, let's say if you fill up the board and then you don't have time to actually replace it, you can actually get the exam administrator to give you a new board that is clean. Okay, and then for the afternoon session, they will usually clean the board and give you another a clean board. Now, in terms of financial calculator, you are still going to use the same approved financial calculator, be it Texas BA2, or you can use the HP12C. Okay, you still need to bring your own financial calculator. Now, there will be additional functions, as what I've heard of. There are functions to flag the question in case you want to review it later. Okay, and then you can strike through the choices if you want to eliminate some of them. Okay, or you can even highlight text within the question. There will be optional breaks in between the morning and afternoon session. I believe it's about 30 minutes. Okay, so you can choose to take the break, or you can choose to proceed with the exam if you do not want the break. Okay, so that is up to the candidate. Now, in terms of the minimum passing score, of course, they may adjust or they may remain it. So this is unknown to us. But so of what they've mentioned, CFA Institute may actually adjust the MPS accordingly. Now, of course, a big concern here will be for the level 3 essay format. Okay, whether some people are concerned that they can't type the formula or the equations. So you don't actually need to, the CFA Institute or the markers don't actually need you to write the formula or the equations. Okay, you'll be in the computer-based exam. There will be a text box where you can actually type in your answers. Okay, and the formula is actually not required. Okay, you don't need to write the formula in order to score points. You just have to answer according to the question. Okay, so what they're saying is that no formula needs to be typed in. And they have mentioned that they will provide sample marks, okay, based on the computer-based format. I'm not sure when they will be out, but for level 3 candidates, you can watch out on the learning ecosystem to see when this is published. I believe the institute will also inform candidates accordingly. Right, so that's an update from me. So from what information I've gathered so far. So of course, in terms of security checks, of course, in terms of stability of the exams, the CFA Institute will look tightly into this. I don't think they will just, casually just implement a computer-based exam and don't care about the quality or the robustness of whether the exam will be conducted properly. Okay, they will make sure that everything is done in accordance with certain standards. Right, so if you have any questions, feel free to leave it in a comment, and I will try to give my opinion or try to answer it as best I can.